Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Chosen Being. Today we explore a question that stirs many hearts. Why does God break the woman he wants to use? This question is not just spiritual. It is deeply personal. It's about the pain, the silence, the confusion many women face before they rise in their divine purpose. If you've ever asked, why me, God? This message is for you. Let's begin this sacred journey together. The breaking season. Where it all begins, God often begins his greatest work with breaking, not because he enjoys your pain, but because your purpose is sacred. A woman carrying a divine mission cannot be built on shaky foundations. Real story. There was a woman who had everything going well, a stable job, a loving partner, and a predictable life. Then, suddenly, it all fell apart. She lost her job, her relationship ended, and she was left alone in a different city. For months, she cried herself to sleep, asking God why this was happening. Years later, she became a counselor for women going through trauma. She now says, I couldn't help anyone back then because I hadn't been broken. I had sympathy, but no empathy. I didn't understand suffering, now I do. This is what breaking does. It purifies your heart, your vision, and your calling. Why does God break women specifically? Because women carry life. Not just physical life, but spiritual life, emotional nurturing, and intuitive guidance. A woman's heart, when aligned with God, becomes a vessel for healing and transformation for others. But before she becomes that, she must go through her own fire. The fire that burns away her people-pleasing nature. The fire that burns away the need for validation. The fire that makes her fall in love with her Creator more than creation. From pleasing to power, the shift. One of the most painful parts of being broken by God is realizing how much you were trying to earn love. You gave too much, you stayed too long, you forgave without boundaries. Why? Because the little girl inside you just wanted to be accepted. But God breaks the woman who wants to be loved by everyone, so he can rebuild the woman who only seeks his love. When she makes this shift from external love to divine love, she becomes unshakable. Loneliness. God's favorite classroom. When God is about to use you, he takes everyone else away first. Friends vanish. Family doesn't understand. You stop fitting in, you feel unseen. This is intentional. Because before he gives you influence, he gives you isolation. Why? Because he wants to remove every voice except his. He wants to teach you to sit with silence and find him there. In that silence, he begins to show you your true identity. Not the version the world created, but the version heaven designed. Betrayal, the blessing you didn't ask for. Many women God uses have a story of betrayal. A best friend who turned against them, a partner who cheated, a family member who judged them cruelly. These betrayals break something inside: a trust, a dream, a future. But they also reveal something: who you are when you lose what you love. God allows betrayal not to destroy you, but to disconnect you from false attachments. He removes what you thought you needed, so you can discover he is all you need. One woman once said, it took a heartbreak to meet my healer. That healer was God. The wilderness, where anointing is born in the Bible. Every powerful woman had a wilderness. Esther, Ruth, Hannah, Mary, none of them were born strong. They became strong. And that strength was not built in palaces, it was built in deserts. You too will walk through seasons where nothing works, where your prayers feel unanswered, where you question everything. That's the wilderness. But in the wilderness, God does his deepest work. He doesn't change your situation. Changes you, your mindset, your patience, your discernment, your boundaries, your purpose. And when the time is right, he brings you out, stronger and wiser. The death of the old you. Before a woman can step into divine purpose, her old identity must die. Not physically but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The version of you that tolerated abuse, gone. The version of you that feared rejection, gone. The version of you that needed to be small to be loved, gone. This is painful. It feels like you're losing everything. But in truth you're finding your soul. God doesn't kill the woman. He kills the lie she believed about herself. And when the lie dies, the truth rises. Spiritual gifts often come after spiritual grief. After the breaking comes the awakening. Many women discover spiritual gifts: healing, intuition, discernment, prophecy after a season of heartbreak. Why? Because pain clears the path for power. One woman who lost her child said, "I used to pray, but after that, I felt God. I could hear him, see his hand in small things. My pain opened a portal I didn't know existed." Grief, as dark as it is, softens the spirit, and in that softness, your gifts are activated. The rise from broken to anointed, there is always a rise. After the breaking, the silence, the wilderness comes the rise. It doesn't happen overnight, but one day you wake up, and you realize you're not the same woman. You don't beg for love. You don't fear solitude. You don't shrink for others. You're grounded, focused, fierce, in faith. You carry a quiet strength, a divine confidence, and people notice. They ask what changed in you. You smile gently. God broke me, and then he built me better. How to embrace the breaking. If you're in it now, if you're in your breaking season, this is for you. Cry. Don't hold it back. Write letters to God. Pour out your soul. Stop comparing your journey to others. Go inward, journal. Meditate. Sit in silence. Let go of relationships that drain your soul. Trust that even this has purpose. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Personal reflections from women who walked this path. Priya was abandoned by her husband with 2 children. She thought her life was over. She now runs a shelter for abused women. God had to break my heart so I could feel theirs, she says. Sarah lost her voice after emotional trauma. Literally, for months. She couldn't speak without shaking. Now she speaks on global stages about women's empowerment. Her voice came back with divine purpose. Anita was suicidal in her 20s after a toxic relationship. She cried on the floor and screamed at God. That night she felt a peace she had never known. It was the beginning of her healing ministry. Each of these women became a vessel not despite their pain, but because of it. Closing words. You were chosen for this beautiful soul. If God is breaking you, it's because he's choosing you. Not for fame, not for attention, but for service, for purpose, for transformation. He is removing what's not aligned. He is reworking what you thought was broken. He is preparing you to lead, love, and lift others. You're not lost. You're not forgotten. You're not too late. You are exactly where you're meant to be, in the hands of the divine potter. And when he is finished, you will not just be whole, you will be holy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And remember, your story will become someone else's survival guide. This is Chosen Being. Until next time, stay grounded, stay guided, and stay glowing.